And in the books, it's a race to improve as much as you can. And up to today, I think, the effort and the improvement is on track. I think today we squandered an opportunity to improve as much as possible. And we're inconsistent in too many areas, probably not mentally prepared to come out and do what it takes to have a successful practice and improve as much as possible. And there was just too much inconsistency across the board at all positions, whether it's a lack of detail, focus, preparation, which leads to a breakdown in execution. And good players want to be coached. Great players, you can't coach them enough. You can't give them enough. They want more and more. Inconsistent players want coached on their terms. And today we had too many inconsistent players. They didn't come out prepared, ready to improve, and live up to the standard, right, that we've set for each individual and the team and offense, defense, special teams. So I'm sure I'll go in and look at the tape. It's never as good, never as bad. But that's where we are today. I'm really not worried about what it looks like 4 months from now. My focus is on what were we today, right? What were we today? What we put on tape. So, questions?
News in that week.
Yeah, you had your first scrimmage this spring on Saturday, and you have another one this Saturday. What were your kind of takeaways from that first one? Are there any specific areas you'd like to see improve this weekend?
Yeah, I thought it was typical first scrimmage, good competition, too many penalties, sacks, the twos, turnovers, about like every first scrimmage I've ever been around. So I want to see it be cleaner Saturday in all three phases. Cut down on the missed assignments, getting 11 guys to do what they're supposed to do consistently, play in, play out at a high level, finishing plays, playing winning football.
What was the focus there that you mentioned that you lacked a little bit today for the first scrimmage?
We just didn't have enough juice out there today. There are too many coaches young to get going, and because guys weren't, I'm not saying every guy, but and up to today, I think the practice has been, they're never perfect, right? But effort and energy has been good.
Matt and Todd.
Coach, we had the running backs this week. What have you seen from the new guys, BB and Hemby, and also how's Kobe Martin kind of come along since coming in last year?
I think all the new guys, they're improving every day with every rep. It's really hard to tell until you tackle. But I see them being more decisive in the run game, catching the ball out of the backfield, doing the right thing in pass pro. And I think Kobe Martin's come along fine. He's got a future.
Todd and Zach.
Curt, looking ahead, we're a week away from the spring game. Nebraska canceled their spring game this year. Concerns over portal issues or whatever it was. Obviously, you didn't share those concerns, but where do you kind of come down on that in terms of the issue of spring games being before the portal window and the concern about having players seen and all that? And then also, what kind of crowd expectation do you have for next week?
Yeah, well, we play a half, basically, is what we do, offense versus defense, and then that's it, we're done. So it's really not a game. And in my mind, it's a glorified practice. And it's a third opportunity to get your guys out there in game-like conditions. And it's also going to be the only time we tackle this spring. So that's how I look at it. Actions speak louder than words. The fact that, we're going to go through with it, that's what I believe. And I don't really have an opinion about other people canceling their spring games. And it's not on TV. It's just another practice.
Zach and Pete.
When you talk about not tackling, I know that's something more and more teams are doing for health reasons and things, kind of especially through spring practice. What are the things kind of you work on to basically simulate tackling as best you can?
Yeah, well, we'll do a tackling circuit before practice, and, you know, guys coach the fundamentals of tackling. We thud, you know. Last 3 or 4 years, you know, we haven't tackled every scrimmage, and last 3 years I think we've tackled in the spring game, and last couple we didn't tackle at all in the fall. Still led the country in run defense and second in the country least amount of yards. So good players can tackle. Ankle stiff, knees, hip stiff athletes have a hard time tackling.
Pete and Daniel.
Yeah, Curt, the two things. What are you looking for from the development of Omar Cooper? And then the other one, this is almost like an urban legend in terms of your ability to evaluate film. Supposedly you've seen film of Fernando from he was like 2 years old or something like that. You graded, maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration. But how much of an evaluator, or even something like that, where you will grade high school film and middle school film? How far back?
Yeah, I'm not sure where that came from. I watched his tape from last season, and I saw him the year before, only when I was watching other offenses and concepts and stuff like that. Omar Cooper, Omar Cooper's got the ability to be an outstanding football player. He's got to do it day in, day out, play in, play out. And, he's got to get rid of the inconsistency, set higher standards for himself, and have the discipline and commitment to achieve his goals and become what he wants to be. The talent's there, the flashes are there. Got to see it play in, play out, game in, game out. Because I got very high expectations for him. Been around some really good receivers, year 44, and he can be one of those kind of guys. And but you got to be able to count on guys, day in, day out, play in, play out. Right? Can't be up and down. Can't be a guy that flashes on home games or at the end of the game, or you know what I'm saying. Part of that is maturity. Growing up, now he's not a young guy anymore, right? So I think Omar can be as good as he wants to be, and 98% of it's right between his ears.
Daniel ran front and Zach B.
Last week, I want to say on Chandler, you said you have to still coach him as well. What is that process like of trying to coach a coach?
Well, I coach all the coaches to some degree, even the ones who've been with me a long time. With Chandler, it's more about this is what we've done offensively, and this is the history. And with everything on my plate as a head coach, I don't quite have as much time to spend on all the little details. But he's done a really nice job. And that's a great thing about spring ball. You get that trial run, and and I think the quarterback's improving with every rep, and with every installation he learns and improves. And the quarterback right now is where all the other new quarterbacks have been that we've brought into this offense. He's the fourth one that's come in from the portal in a row now, and they've all been highly successful. But the first half of spring it's up and down. The second half of spring there's a little more consistency, but then in the fall you really see a big difference. So
Zach B on your right to Joe.
Coach, with the receiver room the way it is right now, what do you make of the role, and what are your expectations maybe for Charlie Becker this season?
I've seen Becker take a step. Excited about his future. He gives you good effort every day, and big, tall. He's made some plays down the field. He's tough. I like Becker.
Joe on your right to Zach.
Coach, 10th practice, you mentioned some of the inconsistencies. How do you try and relay that message and that standard to build from a day like this?
Well, that message got sent on the field during practice. I didn't wait till after practice to send it. So, and sometimes it's a little X-rated message.
Zach, and we'll wrap with this.
You talked there again about Coach Whitmer and kind of bringing him up to speed on some of the things you need from him within your staff. But I remember when you talked about Tino, you talked about some of the things you absorbed from him too, from his time with Coach Sarkisian. Are there some things, especially with Coach Whitmer's time in the NFL, that you can absorb back from him as well? Some things that maybe, whether it's conceptual, whether it's
right.
his process, that you might sort of pull back the other way?
Yeah, with Tino, part of the attraction to me, well, first of all, I knew the family, I knew him. And he was in the Alabama offense, which I had studied during COVID, because FCS didn't play in the fall. So when they had Mac Jones, all those receivers, and I liked what they were doing. And Tino was working under Sark. So, and I was looking for some new ideas. And, you know, we implemented some of them, not all of them. But there was still the coaching of Tino. This was his first full-time job. You know, he had been a graduate assistant and other things, and, you know, it took him a while to kind of, you know, it's like coaching a young player. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Chandler has been around a lot of good people. He's older, and they're two different people. And Chandler understands what it takes. He's got a great work ethic. He's very detailed. I'm not a big guy in taking NFL concepts into college football. It's a different game. I learned that lesson a long, long time. I'm not saying there's not some things, right? Hash marks are different. Proficiency, the players are different. The amount of meeting time you have with the players is completely different. So that normally doesn't translate very well down to the college game. What you've seen in a little bit of is the college game move up to the NFL. You follow me? That doesn't mean we won't steal a thing or two. But the focus up to this point, for the most part, has been, you know, what have we done in the past? What are we seeing out there in college football right now that we kind of like, that maybe we could incorporate?
Niz, last one.
You previously said Pat Coogan was making progress, but from a leadership perspective, have you seen some kind of be a voice now kind of for the offensive line, and what do you like kind of about his style, that fire kind of style?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm thrilled we have him. And I'm sure all the guys look up to him. And I think all things in time, right? And I'm sure a lot of these guys lead in different ways that I don't see, because I'm not around them all the time, right? Off the field, you know, locker room, etc. He certainly has the potential to be a great leader. And, you know, he's one of those 4 or 5 guys right now that I'm sure will be a voice on the team. And got a lot of respect for the way he approaches his work and the effort he puts day in, day out.
All right, thanks, Coach.